Hello, Gray. Thank you so much for coming. Uh, it's my pleasure, first of all, to be with you because it's my honor that I'm with you, and I'm going to present to you the concept of cultural competencies, which I think is going to be very important in our organization. Starting, I'll talk about the importance of cultural competence. So, the component of cultural competence. That we talk about the importance of the development process of culture awareness. That is the first one. If the organizations in the organization people knows they are aware about the culture, that cultural difference, they get to understand that they don't have to do the same thing every time, and this makes them, of course, think that they have to respect everyone's culture. That's why it's a cultural competence is very important. Secondly, the no culture imperialism or ethnocentrism. Most of the time, people will push others to follow their culture, which is something not good. And mostly this comes from not knowing that they are different culture, or people should have different understanding on because of their culture roots. So if we are aware of the culture and know better the cultural competence, we will always not push other people to follow our culture, and also we will not tend to follow others' culture, but we will be confident on our culture. That's the second important, and this actually is something that, of course, push employees to be confident every time in their work. The third thing I was talking about is the importance of understanding one another's culture, as something I was talking about. If I work with Ephraim, that's an example, and I know Ephraim is from Tanzania, I will just respect Ephraim on his culture, because I think Americans should. It's not something always common to have same culture with Tanzanian. So that's somehow I will just understand him and make sure that I respect whatever he's doing, though I may see wrong in my own culture. And so, of course, understanding cultural competence, it brings us to the diversity understanding. So understanding that the world is large, and there is not only one single ways of practicing some things, but there are so many ways of doing different activities, and or different morals or different values that people consider, and that's actually the importance of understanding cultural competence in our organization. And this importance also, it's cultural competence. It improve communication. When I know that I'm speaking to someone from France, that's an example. I will not use the non-verbal communications that may not be known in France, and also I will first want to learn how the people in France communicate. Then I can know how I can communicate effectively and efficiently to anyone from France. So, for example, if someone like to raise the thumbs up to say okay. In America, we'll say you agree or it is okay, but when you go in other countries, maybe let's say in Germany maybe may say when you do the thumb up, it will look like it is saying that you disagree with some points. So it comes to understand ways of understanding other people's culture and tending to respect everyone and try to be in his shoes or do whatever he wants to practice. So The second, understanding one another's culture, as I said, and it also brings to avoiding biases that may cause employers to have conflict or between employers or between employers to customers. That's always possible. There are conflicts that we see always that we are aware about. Um, Having this cultural competence, understanding, it reduces the having biases. What do I mean by biases? The biases, of course, someone can say, like people from Brazil do not maybe like, okay, they like to drink much alcohol. That's an example. And of course, that may be not their culture. That may be not even something that's really happened in Brazil. But because I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4 people from Brazil, you can think that all Brazilians drink alcohol too much. And that's with understanding cultural competence, we get to understand clearly the culture of someone we are living with. So we have that aim of studying and knowing the roots of their culture. And this put out all biases we may have with our friends. So after that, when you don't have these biases, when you understand each other, when we make sure that we respect everyone's culture, this will bring to a good environment with no conflict. And that is very important at workplace for any organization to achieve on its success. Allow me to go on the cross-cultural relationship. And on cross-cultural relationship, I said people have different understanding, different culture, and the different culture comes from different roots. There are roots that shaped one nation's culture and roots that shaped another nation's culture. And all this stuff all this shape a culture that someone follow. And of course, that's what shape people ways of practicing things. And in cross culture, we study much on the ways of, though people may have different culture, we study a way they can be in a relationship very well, like they have the same culture. It's not a good idea to develop misunderstanding of me and Ephraim from Tanzania because we don't agree on same culture, on the same way of practicing things. No. But with cross culture, we accept others' ways of practicing, and we make sure that we always understand them and they always understand us. So there is a way of understanding everyone to develop really a good teamwork and to develop a team or a workforce that's going to focus on what to do or the responsibilities instead of focusing on one culture, one practicing way, or the stuffs are down when we came to cross-culture relationship. In cross-culture, it's something that everybody knows that there is no super culture in the world. So the best culture is not American's culture, is not Rwandan's culture, is not Congolese culture, is not Germany's culture. No, everybody has best culture for him. No one can describe the best culture as this or this one. So it is same, and we understand that our culture is equal to another one's culture. We don't put our culture up than another one. So we understand the other people. So when we understand people with their roots of culture, that's when we deeply understand what they are doing, why they are doing what we call different from us. So if someone is liking football, if we understand the root of their culture, that's when we get to understand that it's really important for him to like football. So we avoid single story and be eager to know the culture, the real culture of someone. That is avoiding also biases. On the importance, we have the importance to reflect one's culture experience. It is very important to make a reflection on your own culture, because this allows you to know why you are doing what you are doing, and it allows you to stay confident that there is a reason behind you are doing something that people may see in a negative way. And when you continue to do this, it will prevent you from getting finding yourself practicing others' culture that you don't really understand. It's something that that everyone should just do to make sure that he knows really what he's doing and why he's practicing his culture. It helps also to practice your culture and interact well with people in your own culture. I am a Rwandan, and I'm a Rwandan, and when I go in my village, I have to interact with old people, with children, with these people who really practice the culture of Rwanda. For me, I have exposed on different cultures, and I can practice different culture. But understanding my culture will always remind me that I have to, when I'm with Rwandans only, I will make sure that I act in the same way I act in Rwandan culture. It gives also good understanding that culture are not similar. I will understand my culture well, and when I get to learn Tanzanian culture, I will see that Tanzanians are very different to Rwandans, depending on the culture relationship or differences. So anytime this leads to reducing shocks when someone is blaming me because of any culture I'm practicing. If I know what I'm doing, it will always, people will say that I'm doing wrong things, but because I know I'm practicing very well what I know, I will stay confident and feel like no problem. That's the importance of having a reflection, knowing your own knowing your own culture. So then, of course, after this presentation, I expect that you and the employees also will try to go out and be eager, of course, to learn others' culture, employees' culture, HNA, people's culture, and customers' culture. So I think I can give you a hint of some questions that you might be using when trying to learn others' culture. The first question is, what is the society you would like to study the culture of? That is one. The second is, what is the society story and background? And the third one, what is the basic demographic information of society or a country? This is knowing geographical ways, geographical situations, and this would help you to understand any culture related to demographic information of that region. And another question would be, how does relationship work in the society? It's very important to know how relationships work between one person and another one. How maybe marriage happens, that is very important to know. It's something probably some people would want, but I think it's very important to understand even other cultures related to that. And what language, food, dressing in the society? Language is very important, of course. Sometimes to hold the identity of someone, but also food, knowing food that people like to take there and how food is prepared. It's something that is going also to help and push you to understand different practices and the way they do these practices. Food is very important, and as well, dressing code. It can show you how people may think of different things, how people perceive different stuff from dressing. I will give you handouts and to make sure that you understand and you can read it when I'm not here. But continue to questions there. What are the ritual and custom in this society? It's very important to know ritual and custom, and what are similarities and differences of their culture with yours or with mine. Because if you want to know better something, you compare what you have and what is that to understand the similarities and differences and be eager to learn, knowing why these differences exist or why these similarities exist too. Something important. And some of the effects of having these biases, it's you hold like a single story and judge people without knowing the root of their culture. Instead of saying agreeing with someone or approaching him and discuss some issues that you may see, some people judge what they see out without, they judge with what they understood, with the single story they understood. So in that may create many conflict at the workplace if that come. So this also leads to disrespecting others' culture, which is also bad. It is in business and organization. It is always better to respect everyone. The way to remain aware of biases is to deeply study that culture and to know the root of the culture. Stop using these biases, but be eager to learn to know their culture very clearly. And also, when you learn these cultures, it's very important that you use the fact you had and use this fact to overcome the biases you had. Be honest and convince yourself that the biases were not correct, but what's correct is the fact that have been able to find research. The importance of culture awareness, consideration, and this knowledge in the upcoming partnership learn smoothly. It will help to interact with others. Now, when we cover all this content, when we understand clearly what is cultural competence and how we have to practice culture, these presentations, they cover everything that will help people to understand and to practice it and live together with those with different cultures. It will help them to interact very well, to stay confident on their own culture, to avoid biases, to facilitate the communication among employers and among customers, employees versus customers, employees versus employees, and board directors and bosses. Okay. Okay. It will also increase motivation to one another, reduce the presence of stress, no culture shock, and eagerness of everyone to learn others' culture. Work together with focusing on productivity and the relationship rather than any conflict. Thank you so much for coming. But before I leave, I would like just to, the next plan I will reach on this presentation is what I will communicate to our employees, employers who work together in organization, and I hope I will give them some reflection to complete, as well as I'm going to give you some reflection and feedback form. Then you can send me and see if I can provide you some further information, and also with help, and also I will give you my, so you can always email me when you have any problem. Make sure this presentation is very helpful in the process we're going to be partnering with a new organization. Thank you so much. I was happy to be with you. Thank you. Bye.